This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best online retailer for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed product. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content.
Hi, my name is Zach, and this is my Lavinia the 10th Commander deck. So I play Lavinia of the 10th. She has protection from red, and when she enters the battlefield, I can detain each non-land permanent my opponent's control with converted mana cost 4 or less. Using her as opposed to most blue-white commanders. I use her, the protection from red is super nice, but the fact that I can stop things like Sensei's Divining Top, Soul Ring, Stoneforge Mystic's ability, just things that are really annoying on my opponent's turn is pretty great and really important to trying to tempo them out. So I've got my land base. I have 33 lands, of which 17 are basic. Evolving Wilds, obviously, to go grab basics, same. Encroaching Wastes, I like it just destroys a non-basic land. I'm being murdered by a Celestial Colonnade, or they have that extra land that they need, just take it out and screw them on lands. Reliquary Tower, this deck can really go off and draw a lot of cards. Mystifying Maze stops commanders, stops really aggressive creatures from hitting me in the face. Also can bounce my own creatures. Moorland Haunt, if my creatures die, if I get Wrath, it's pretty great to get a 1/1 Flying Spirit that I can put a sword on. Temple of False God, obviously, it's just a staple. Ice Floe, because I'm poor and can't afford Mystifying Maze. The only difference is that it's a creature without flying. Windbrisk Heights, the Hideaway is great. This is an aggressive deck, so you attack with a lot of creatures, get some really sneaky things into play. Also, bouncing permanents is pretty great, because then I get my Hideaway trigger again. Tolaria West, I can grab Mystifying Maze, I can just play it as a land, I can grab Reliquary Tower, it's pretty useful. Then the basic duels, Gain a Life, Scry, basic as they get. Command Tower, obviously, and then all my basics. I play white bordered, partially because it annoys my playgroup, and also because when I get pathed or I have to search for a basic, it makes it super fast, especially late game. Get rid of those. Mana Rocks, Soul Ring, obviously, because you can't play Commander without Soul Ring. Everflowing Chalice, super good because I can grab it with Trinket Mage, same thing with Soul Ring. Azorius Cluestone, just a good card. Gilded Lotus, super Mana Rock. So we start off with Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. He's an alternate commander. He's super good. Taxes. Just very utility. Makes me more aggressive than the other aggro deck. Redirect. Just a super utility card. If they're trying to kill my commander, how about no, I kill your commander. Azorius Charm. Super useful again. Then we have our creature removal. Fiend Hunter. Banisher Priest. Duplicant. A lot of super tricks with this. If I repeatedly bounce it, Conjurer's Closet, Flickerless, Resto Angel, just wipe their board. Intrepid Hero, a lot of commanders in my playgroup have power 4 or greater, so drop this turn 2 or 3, and then keep their commander off the board for good. Path, just good removal spell. Arrest, not technically a removal spell, but it can attack or block, and the activated abilities is super important. Banishing Light, of course. Oblivion Ring, another great removal enchantment. Banishing Stroke, because not only does it hit artifacts and enchantments, but I can tuck their commander. Mortar Pod, pretty just simple removal spell, can bounce it around to things. Nice synergy with Skull Clamp. And then there's Snap. I can bounce my own creature to my hand, or bounce theirs, and I get to untap 2 lands. Terminus, because how about we tuck everything? It's just a really good board wipe that doesn't actually destroy, so I can always go find my things. Fated Retribution, instant speed board wipe, hits Planeswalkers, and I get to scry, super value. After all, that's the name of this deck, it's just absolute value. Austere Command, really utility, wipes whatever's a problem for me at the moment. Wrath of God, they can't be regenerated, destroys all creatures. Lots of board wipes in this deck. This one can't be countered. Day of Judgment, of course, simple as it gets, destroy all creatures. Sunblast Angel, fun to flicker, destroys all tapped creatures, gives me advantage against other aggro decks. Pithing Needle, good control card, hits a lot of commanders with abilities. Early game can hit things that are really annoying to me. Glenalondra Archmage, because I don't run many counter spells. I really don't want my board to be wiped. If I'm in advantage, I'll just hold on to those board wipes and not let them have theirs. Plus, she's a 2/2 flyer. Persist means I can bounce her also and re-get her ability. Azorius Guildmage, another really good one. I can tap creatures or counter an activated ability, so that also gives me more of an advantage. Mold Drifter, because the name of the game is value. Get a lot of draw. I'll hardcast it for 5 and just bounce it all game. Afara, I have a lot of creatures entering the battlefield and then re-entering and then re-entering, so it gives me a lot of card draw. Plus, you can turn into an indestructible 6/5, which is pretty great. Impulse, really good draw spell. Doesn't put them in the graveyard, which is nice, so I still have them in my deck if I want them later. Brainstorm, just the best draw spell in the game, in my opinion. Ponder, that game 1 setup is super important, plus the shuffle away is good. Just gonna knock over the rest of my deck real quick. Skull Clamp, a lot of creatures in this deck do have 1 toughness, plus it gives me that extra +1 for aggression. Again, the Mortar Pod synergy is fantastic. Divination, basic draw. Augury Owl gives me that scry. I can bounce it a ton. Think Twice, just a recurable draw card. Pretty good on turn 2. Consecrated Sphinx, an absolute bomb in commander. Gives me lots and lots of draw. More Sculpting. And then just a basic aggressive creature. The first strike is super important. Repeatedly bouncing it is great. I can Skull Clamp it. Adric finishes games. I drop it. Next turn attack. Nothing blocks. Gets through for lethal. Resolute Archangel, because when I'm behind, I really like being mean and how I just reset my life total repeatedly. Twilight Shepherd, best recursion spell in this. Persist means I can bounce it, get the counter off of it, and then get to reuse it again. Sun Titan, another great recursion spell. Really good beater. Revelark, yet another recursion spell. Diluvian Primordial, good against control decks that like doing tricky things. I get Living Death, I'll Living Death them. It's a good time. Solemn Simulacrum gets me that land, and then eventually can draw me a card. I can bounce it repeatedly to go get more lands. Then my deck, make sure I have all my mana. Trinket Mage, again, repeatedly bounceable. Can go get Soul Ring or Everflowing Chalice, which is pretty important to get that Soul Ring whenever I can. Enlightened Tutor, searches for swords, grabs me the Soul Ring, whatever I need. Drift of Phantasms, convenient thing is the transmute for 3 allows me to go get a sword, which is also very important. And then, of course, the ultimate sword getter, Stoneforge Mystic. And then I've got the targets for Stoneforge Mystic. Body and Mind, getting that wolf is really important. Helps put on the trigger for Adric. Really gets me going. Sword of Feast and Famine, there's a lot of black and green. Protects against that. Untapping all my lands is super important. Jita, the most aggressively costed planeswalker. Just super utility. Ghostly Flicker allows me to bounce my creatures, as well as artifacts or lands. Vanish into Memory can bounce their creature. Really valuable against tokens, as they don't re-enter the battlefield, so I just get pure draw. Deadeye Navigator, because you can do ridiculous things with so many different cards with this. Conjurer's Closet, the end of turn flicker. Mimic Vat, if one of my important creatures dies, I can exile it, repeatedly play it over and over again. Gale Powder Mage, not only is aggressive at a 3/3 flyer, but I can flicker something, either mine or flicker their creature, and get more value. Venser, obviously, bounce my creatures, I ultimate him, it's just game. Restoration Angel, the simplest flicker, plus a 3/4 flying body is not bad. Flicker Wisp, I can exile any permanent, so if they have, for example, the Archmage Ascension, or anything that's just bothering me, I can bounce it. Angel of Serenity, not only is it recursion spell for myself, if it does die, I can exile things off the board, tricky creatures. Bouncing it repeatedly can just wipe the board. Clone, simple clone effect, copy something, get that enter the battlefield effect. And Phyrexian Metamorph, even better. That Phyrexian blue plus being able to copy an artifact is super duper important. This was my Lavinia of the 10th Commander deck. Like and favorite, subscribe to Commander decks, and have a great day.